Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Please continue to guide us through 1 Timothy for your honor and glory. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
What's up, love people, love youth, young, old, united to heaven? Kristen stereotype here, and we are continuing in the Kin Necessity series. We've been branching off about myths. In 1 Timothy chapter 1, there was this church in Ephesus that they were just getting Jewish doctrine and doctrines of the time and mixing it together and making up a bunch of myths to confuse people, to burden people, to control them. And so last video we talked about myths in the church, myths that just kind of float around out there. We talked about speaking in tongues. We talked about blood transfusions, how you don't have to. It's okay to give. It's okay to give blood. It's okay to get blood if you need it. We talked about you don't have to speak in tongues in order to be saved. That it's not necessarily a mark of salvation. It's a gift of the Spirit, but it's not a mark of salvation. You don't have to speak in tongues in order to be saved. That is simply not true. So just to put your minds at ease on those things. And today we're talking about something um, semi-tricky. Not really tricky, but is it okay for Christians to celebrate their birthdays? There's a myth that goes around in the church and Christianity about how Christians shouldn't celebrate birthdays. There's this idea that the celebration of birthdays is a pagan thing, and me personally, I just find it extremely hard to believe that one particular set of people just created birthday celebrations. I just find that kind of hard to pinpoint, but like that's kind of strange. Um, but well, the question is, what are some Bible verses that we can say that we can read to validate this? Because we should celebrate our birthday. If you want to, you don't have to. If you grew up not celebrating your birthday and you don't want to, that's fine. You do you. But if you do want to celebrate your birthday, let's check out some verses that can help us out with that. So, first verse I have is Psalm 139, verses 15. That's Psalm 139, 15. Um, says, "My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days adorned for me were written in your book before one of them came to be." So, God, He's created us in the womb, and I feel like a loving God definitely celebrates your birthday, because if He's numbered out the days, He most certainly remembers the day you were born, and God has so much fun making you and crafting you. So um, I'm sure God fondly remembers the day you were born, the very first day that He heard your cry in the present time. I'm sure God remembers that, because it says here that He's numbered out all of your days. So I'm sure He remembers the day of your birthday. A loving God who loves people, I'm sure, loves the day you were born. I'm sure He was happy the day you were born and celebrated it that day. So that's one verse, and we're just gonna look up Genesis chapter 2 verse 2. It's kind of an unorthodox perspective, but in Genesis 2, in Genesis 2, God, He had finished making all the earth. He had finished making the plants and the trees and the birds and mankind. And then it says He rested on that day, and it says that He rested on that day. It said He blessed the seventh day and made it. He blessed the seventh day and made it holy. Because of it, He rested from all the work of the creating that He had done. So it's like God made this Sabbath and blessed it, almost like to rest and just celebrate all He had made. So God's willing to celebrate a day of creation, and I'm sure He's willing to celebrate a day that He created you, because we see there from that it is in God's characters to celebrate a creation. So we see that is part of Christ's character. So yeah, you can celebrate your birthday just going off of that. It's okay to celebrate your birthday. And we're gonna go a bit into the Christmas story. Um, Luke 2:19. Yeah, I think that's it. But Mary, it says, but Mary treasured up all these things in her heart and pondered them. And this was right after the shepherds had just seen all the angels, all this crazy stuff was going on, and they just heard about the story of Jesus, so they came to see him. And was it the shepherds? Yeah, it was the shepherds. Yeah, so they came to see him, and they told him all this stuff, and said Mary pondered these things in her heart. So to say that birthdays should be celebrated is kind of insane because all of creation at one point celebrated the birth of Christ, and whether or not you do it yearly or um just you knew whether or not you do it yearly or not, it was still a celebrated birth. They still celebrated it. Mary kept all those things in her heart. She still celebrated the day he was born. I'm sure she often thought back to the day he was born. She was happy about those days. That's still a celebration. It may not be a big old party, but it's still something like a celebration. So, we get from that it's okay to celebrate a birthday. Um, and another one is also in Genesis 21 verse 8. This is talking about Abraham's promised son. Abraham, he was told that he would have a son. It would be the offspring of Israel, that his offspring would outnumber the grain, would be as numerous as the grains of sand. And he finally gets his son to be born, and it says, then the child grew and was weaned, and on the day Isaac was weaned, Abraham held a great feast. So it's not exactly a birthday celebration, but it's the same concept. It's a passage of time, of a coming of age. It's not his exact day of birth, but it is a similar concept, a passage of time, a coming of age. So to me, that is very solid. It's okay to celebrate passage of time. It says he held a feast, so it's okay to celebrate your birthday. I'm not saying you have to, but don't dog on others who do. It's okay if you want to celebrate your birthday. Maybe you've been wondering about it. Because if you're like me, I'm a sponge type of person. I kind of absorb everything I hear. So like if someone tells me that it's a sin to wear socks, I'm gonna be paranoid about socks. So I need affirmation that certain things are okay. So if you're like me and you've heard that maybe it's not okay to celebrate your birthday and you're a bit spiritually paranoid because you want to please God, this is the stuff for you. So it's okay to celebrate your birthday. Abraham pretty much did it, and you pretty much celebrated it. The angels celebrated Christ's birth. I'm not saying that you're Jesus or anything, but it's the same concept. It's a celebration of birth. And this last verse is I like a lot because I had a Google search to birthday celebrations for Bible verses, and man, I was like, it's hard to find anything. It's a pretty slim pickings because it was just hard to find anything that supported the idea of celebrating your birthday. But I actually found this little verse, and I thought this made a lot of sense. Um, John 16 verse 21. It says, a woman giving birth to a child has pain because the time has come, but when her baby is born, she forgets the anguish because of her joy that a child is born into the world. So we see that's Jesus talking. Keep that in mind. So we see from there that even a woman who gives birth is celebrating the birth of her child. So whether or not she did it yearly or did it through a party, it does not matter because it is still a celebration of the life. That is what the birthday is about. It's about celebrating life. So we see from there that Jesus Christ himself has no problem celebrating a birthday. He even just put it out there and said she has joy. So we see from there that that is perfectly fine to celebrate your birthday. So go ahead, celebrate your birthday. But if, let's say that you grew up in a belief system that it's not okay to celebrate your birthday, but you've been wanting to, and you maybe you've seen this video and you still kind of want to, but you still feel that uneasiness, the uncomfortableness. You know, you just, it's how you grew up, and you don't want to betray that. You don't want to hurt God, and you still have this uncomfortable perspective that you might hurt God if you do celebrate your birthday. So how can you celebrate it and kind of just do it in a way that's comfortable for you? We're looking at Luke chapter 22, 25, and 26. You know, what people tend to do is what some people do is they'll celebrate their birthday by helping out at a charity. You'll hear those stories about kids who will celebrate their birthdays and by helping out at a charity and giving back. And so we see here Luke 22, 25 and 26. It says, "The King of the Gentiles lord it over them, and those who exercise authority over them call themselves benefactors. But you are not to be like that. Instead, the greatest among you should be like the youngest, and the one who rules like the one who serves. So, Jesus was kind of ending this dispute about who's greater and amongst the disciples, and he says, you know, if you want to be like Christ, to serve people. So, a good way to ease yourself into celebrating your birthday would be to serve in a soup kitchen or food pantry or clothing place where they give out clothes, Salvation Army, or just stuff like that, Goodwill. So if and you can tell people, well, I want to celebrate my birthday, and this is how I'm going to do it for the first time, and that's an amazing testimony to give. It's an amazing story, and you see right there, you already have your testimony, you got your verse, you got your story, and you're celebrating your birthday while also serving Christ. So that is a way to celebrate birthday if you're still kind of uncomfortable with it, but you still want to do it, you want to experience that. And yeah, that's it. So it's okay to celebrate your birthday. You don't have to if you don't want to, but I believe God definitely does because He made you and He loved the day He made you. So yeah, if you want to celebrate your birthday, there's your verses, there are your reasons, there's your backup. So just take those to heart, write those verses down if you want to, and yeah, that's it. That's it for on myths. It's okay to celebrate your birthday. It's okay. You don't have to speak in tongues in order to be safe, and you can get a blood transfusion if you want to, or if you want to give blood, you can. If you want to get a blood transfusion because you have a medical problem or an organ donation, those things are okay. You don't have to worry about those types of things because it's all about love, and we should remember that God is a God of love. And yes, there are things that God says not to do, but there's a lot of stuff that we can do because it's about freedom in Christ. So, and you know, these are myths that people bring in today to bring people down. And you know, same thing in 1timothy, we need to stop those myths and just encourage people because it's controlling people and stopping progress. And yeah, so that is it. So have fun celebrating your birthday. If it's your birthday today, happy birthday. But yeah, just celebrate your birthday, and it's fine. God loves you. I love you. And whether or not you celebrate your birthday,
You are loved.